Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Mama Faye Home Training Series. Today, we're going to talk about creating a system for mid-level managers, and this is part one. Becoming a mid-level manager has to be one of the best decisions that you can make. Now, you have to make this decision with great thought and great care. Crossing into becoming a supervisor means stepping into a whole different arena. You are no longer one of the coworkers or one of the guys or one of the gals, and you may not fit in any longer. They may not allow you back in, and you're not necessarily one of the boss, or you may not be on the senior level of management. You're in a whole nother class all by yourself. So this is going to definitely be different. And you're going to one day maybe want to become a boss or a senior level manager. So you will learn all about how to manage or supervise other people during this time. But you'll also get to see and you'll be able to look at other mid-level managers just like you, what they're doing and how they're running their departments as well. But even more so, you will get to see and be around senior level managers and bosses, and you'll get to see right up front, close hand, their leadership style. You'll get to see their successes, but also more importantly, you're going to see a lot of their failures and you will learn from them. But what is really, really important is you're going to learn your own leadership style. You're going to learn what's going to be working for you, and then also, importantly, too, what ain't working for you. This lesson is taught in a way that is going to be simple and it's going to be basic and it's going to be in a language that you can understand. I may not use very high technical terms. I can use all of the different types of ways that we talk as among leaders when we're talking to each other. Every organization have language and terms that they use, but I wanted to make this lesson very simple and very basic so that you can just understand in everyday plain language how to become a leader and how to become a mid-level manager. So you're going to be able to grasp these ideas and these concepts so that you too can become a great leader. And also too, you can take these nuggets and keys and it will help you each day to not only reach your goals and your objectives, but it'll also help you to reach your company's goals and objectives. So here goes. Today you will learn what a system is. A system is an organized way of doing something. Anything successful a manager do, they're not just going out and just getting things done. They have a organized way or they have multiple steps that they're doing to a process in order to accomplish a goal. You will also learn the steps to creating that system, how to set one up. And lastly, you will learn how to set up time frames, which is having a set time, whether it is every week, 2 weeks, or even every month. You would need to have a time frame or a period of time that you will make sure that your system that you have created is actually working the way that you have set it up to work. And finally, you will learn how to monitor the system you created. In other words, you have to have a way of seeing your progress or lack of progress. So let us begin. A system is a series of several steps that you need to take in order for you to get to a outcome or a particular end goal. Many a times we know in our minds we have an idea of where we want to see our department go, how we want to run our team, and we also have an idea of what we want to see and what we want to achieve. But in so many cases, we don't have a way or a system in order to make sure that if I follow a certain set of steps, that it'll get me to a particular end game, or it will get me to the goal or the desired outcome that I'm looking to achieve. So what we have to do as a mid-level manager is we have to come up with different types of steps for each one of the things that we want to see happen. You will need to create a or establish a system for every idea, every principle, every protocol, or every problem. Now, it sounds like this is going to be very tedious, but it is not. What it is going to be is it's going to help you to organize. It's going to help you to decide and right up front what it is that you want to achieve, and then simply how are you going to get there. If you don't have a system, what's going to happen is you're going to end up spending more time trying to find out what's going on, trying to find out why you didn't meet your goals. You're going to spend more time trying to put everything together simply because you didn't take the time in the first place, in the beginning, to put together. And sometimes it could be as simple steps. It doesn't have to be complicated. The more complicated you make the steps, sometimes you're already sabotaging yourself. So you don't want to make it really complicated, but you do also want to make sure that you have something in place for each one of the goals that you set. So a part of that is creating what we call a system, a way of doing things the same way every time so that you get the same results. And then when it is successful, now you can teach that to others under you, and you can train your department to do the same thing and continue to get the same desired results. In order to have something that is needed or something, a goal, you need to find out first what it is that you need, that is needed to be solved, or what are the things that you need to implement. Let's say you have a particular task that has to be done every day or every hour or every week or even quarterly. Let's say you have an idea that you want to implement a new concept, or it can be a principle, something that has to be done, a principle that needs to be carried out in order for you to meet your goals. And then sometimes because certain particular jobs or organization has to deal with quality and safety, and it's things that can harm people, the environment can harm you. So what has to happen is you have to have certain protocols that follow industry standards. And then there may be problems that come along the way that you need to have solved. So you have to have some type of system in place in order to solve problems that come along your way. So first of all, what is needed is a task, an idea, a principle, a protocol, or a problem. It has to be something that needs to be solved or something that has to be completed. And so now you have what you need to begin your system. You're going to take whatever those tasks, ideas, principles, protocols, or problem, and now you're going to create steps in order to implement in order to get to your goal. Based on that, you're going to now come up with the steps that is going to be needed for each one of those tasks, ideas, principles, protocols, and problems. And like we said earlier, the steps that you're going to create doesn't have to be very complicated. Also, if you are not the first person that is the first mid-level manager there, or if this is a organization that has been around, 9 times out of 10 they have already have a lot of these systems already in place. So you would want to, as a new manager, is to take them out, review them. Some of them may need a little bit of updating to bring them up to the today's standards. And so you would look at each one of those steps. Some can be deleted, some may be added. And so you're going to look at those so that you can go over that with the staff or with your team or the people that are in your department to make sure that they understand the whatever new steps that you have created. Also, this is going to be something that you're going to do for yourself, as these are the systems that we're talking about. Particularly for this is for the ones for you, so that you can be organized, so that you can be successful in being a manager. So some of those steps are going to be already created. Sometimes you can also ask other managers that have been there to share with you a lot of their successes and their success stories, so that you can get an idea of how you want to uh, work those particular steps themselves. So not every one of your system has to be created by you. Some of them will already be a given, and so it's up to you to learn them and to make them a part of your own way of managing your unit. And of course, we did talk about how what the steps are to is needed if this is something new that you want to implement. What are the steps needed to bring it to completion? Because some of the things that you're going to want to put in place, you may, when you're creating it, you have to come up with step by step ways of how you're going to get to the completion until you get to your goal. There must also be consideration, like we said, if this is something that has to involve other people, their safety, your safety, then you got to also consider that as well, because you don't want to implement something that is not going to be safe for you or for someone else to do. Also, you have to look at if it is going to be something that is not going to be overwhelming. You don't want to give yourself something that you're not going to be able to accomplish. So make sure that you, when you're creating a system for yourself, make sure that it is durable, that is something that you're going to be able to do and you're going to be able to be successful out of the gate. There also has to be uh, made into the system that you're creating is a time frame. This is the amount of time that is needed in order for you to complete or achieve the goal. Some things that you have to do as a mid-level manager, they have deadlines. So if there are deadlines that you have to meet, then you need to make sure that when you're making a system that you are putting in those deadlines. If it must be, for instance, done in 7 days, then you need to make sure that one of the steps is creating a way for you to look at that every 6 days to make sure that it has been completed, so that on the seventh day you can turn it in, or you can have that report, and that the report may be something that has to go to another manager or director, or it has to go into a particular system so that the organization can look at it. That's one of the things that you're going to want to do if to in order to create a system that has a time frame on it. And it's very few things that you as a mid-level manager is going to be responsible for it that does not have a time frame on it. Even though you may not have someone looking over you every day or coming by and standing over you, most times you still have things that you must complete within a certain amount of time. You're going to want to set up the dates for measuring and monitoring and meeting the goal or the completion. And that's the part of that's going to be a part of the time frame as well, because one of the things that you have to measure and monitor is meeting your time frames. Also making sure that you are actually getting success, or that it is being completed correctly, whatever it is that you started out as your task, your principle, as your protocol, that all of that is being completed. And so you want to make sure that those dates, if like I said, if the time frame is weekly, then you want to go back and make sure that you are consistently uh, meeting that weekly deadline. And so that's a part of measuring. And then you also want to have where you are monitoring it. So you may have to monitor a little earlier in order to make sure that you are going to be able to meet those deadlines. And then they also too, you want to make sure that you are meeting those goals as well, even though you may be meeting the deadline, but are you successful in whatever that task is? About having a task, an idea that we want to implement, a principle, a protocol, or a problem that we want to solve. We said that we have to have steps in order to bring it to completion. We talked about it had to be according to the industry standards that we're in. Also, the steps has to be realistic, something that we know we can achieve or that our unit can achieve. And then we said that there has to be a time frame for completion. And then we have to have some type of measuring or monitoring to make sure that we are completing our as part of our system. Also, we need to now monitor our progress. And then as we monitor our progress, we move into, if we see that we are not meeting the goal, that the steps seem to not be working, or some of the steps are not working, if we see that we're still missing things and things are falling out, and let's say the boss is asking you about something and you uh, wasn't able to get that completed, or you don't know what's going on, then it's time for you to review, to revise, and to make changes as needed. because maybe it's something that you didn't put maybe a alarm on. Maybe it's something that you need to set on your calendar. Maybe you need to have little stickies around your workplace to tell you that, certain things need to be done. Whatever is your system, remember we said your system, your way of doing something to make sure that you have the results that you need, then you have to go back and look at whether that you need to make changes to the system that you created. If it involves other people or teams or other people in your department, then you might want to also ask them for feedback as to how do you think this is working. Apparently, we put this in place, but for some reason, we still haven't met our goals, or we something maybe got missed, and so now we have to go back and we're going to have to tweak it as you go, meaning you're going to have to go back and fix those areas where it is falling out, where you're not able to, you missed some things, or you didn't get the outcome that you were expecting. Something has to be wrong with your steps. And also, when we creating those systems for our department and for us as we manage, we also have to make sure that we have these goals that and requirements that we ourselves need to meet. So we have to set up ones for ourselves as well, that may be an individual goals, in order for us to make sure that not only that our department is on schedule and doing what it needs to do, but you as a mid-level manager is doing all of the things that you need to do, so that when you get your evaluation, you're not lacking because you spent so much time trying to make sure that your department was running, that you forgot to make sure that you met all of your objectives for the year as well. Most mid-level managers have to do some type of level of supervision. Usually you have a group or a team or unit or a department that is under you, that you have to provide some level of supervision. So that's going to be mainly incorporated in your weekday, and also in probably every portion of or every day of the week. You're going to have to provide at least some level of supervision to your team. So in addition to all of the, remember we talked about the goals and the systems that you created so that you can stay on stay on target, and so that you can meet all of the expectations that you're trying to meet for your department and also for yourself as being a manager. As far as your performance level, you also have to make sure that you're going to be supervising the staff as well. You can't get so focused on trying to meet your goals until you forget to provide some type of leadership to the people that are under you, that are expecting you to help them to be able to do what they need to do successfully in order for them to meet their performance objectives. First of all, every day you're going to do certain things as a mid-level manager, and a part of your task as a supervisor and providing supervision to your staff, your team, your unit, you're going to want to incorporate these 8 principles. You can establish a system for each one of these as you wish, but they must be a part of what you do each day or each day of the week, in order for you to be successful as a manager. And so one of the things is very important, that's key, is you have to get a sense of where your department is. So one of the ways that you do that is you will go down and, or if you're not in the direct area, you want to go where you have face-to-face contact to see your unit, your the people that you work with. Sometimes in this virtual workspace, it may be in the form of a meeting on Teams. It may be through phone calls, but you definitely need to be able to have the closest proximity that you can. If it's not where you can physically be there, you have to find a way to be able to connect so that you can get a sense of where your department is. Many times when we have other people that are in charge, they may not be giving us a full picture of what's going on. So you as that mid-level manager has to make sure that you're having some type of contact with the staff so that you will know what is going on. Next, you want to check the staffing to make sure that you have enough people, enough employees, enough people that are going to be able to do whatever it is that is needed to be done. You want to address any problems that may arise or any concerns so that you will can put them on your schedule as well so that you can address these up front. And also, if there are any emergencies, to make sure that you have a way of managing those emergencies. If it's things that you know that you need to reach out to your director or to the people that are over you, you make sure that you address these concerns first, uh, implement what you can in order to rectify the situation, and then you get in contact with the people that you know that you need to contact in order for this to be resolved. Once you have once you have been able to now know where and have a sense of where your department or where your team is or where the unit is, now you can go and check with your boss, because many of the times the boss is looking for the same thing. They're wanting to have touch bases with you to find out if there are any problems or if there are anything that's going on that need to be addressed on their level. So they're going to want to know, and so what is going on. So you will have already have checked on, looked at, know about, have an understanding of what's going on, so that now when you check in with your director, you check in with your bosses, that you can now give them a realistic report of what it is that you are seeing and what it is that you had to implement, and if they have any further instructions that they want you to carry out, you will be able to carry out those as well. Also, if, a lot of times when you check with your boss, a lot of times they have other special projects that need to be completed, and so don't wait for them to have to come to you. You go and make sure that if they have any special projects that you need to complete, that you have give them that opportunity to bring those up to you as well. And then once you've checked with your boss and made sure that they're good, and that if they need anything from you or from your staff, Then now you can go ahead, and if depending on if the special project has an immediate deadline, some things has to be taken care of. Sometimes that's very same day, so you're going to have to push aside what you may have had planned for that day, not all the way aside, but in the immediate to get certain things done for that special project. And sometimes they'll say have it to me by the close of the business day today. So that means that they want you to work on that project and to make sure that you have it completed by the time frame that they request from you. If there, like I say, special emergencies that come arise, or sometimes things that are out of your control. Sometimes there are disasters and things that go on outside of the organization that is affecting the organization. Everybody has to stop, everybody has to be involved, and you got to be able to get information from your boss, disseminate that information to your staff, and vice versa. Things that are going on with your staff and your unit, you have to now take that back up to the boss to see what they want to do. So sometimes it's a rolling reciprocal cycle that's going on. But once that is over and it's now resolved, or at least at a level where you can now go back to your tasks and the systems, remember that you created. One of the things that you're going to look at each day is you probably are going to have some daily reports. Now, like I said, you won't spend a whole lot of time looking at reports when you have actual things that you have to get done that particular day. This is not something that you want to put on as the first, but you want to glimpse at those daily reports and at least be able to pick out quickly anything that's falling out of place, anything that you identify that needs to be corrected, in order that when the week is in, or when the month in, or when the quarter in, or when the year in, that it's not going to cause you to not meet your objective or your goals that you have set. And then you can now work on any other tasks that you have that you created. So those are the 8 things that you're going to do pretty much every day. It's not going to always look the same each day. Some days one is going to take more time than the other, but it has to be done on a daily basis, because this is a part of what you do as a mid-level manager. To look at each day, now let's look at how an example of what we would do on in addition to the 8 things that we're going to do every day, what we may set up on our calendar for every Monday. Every Monday when we come in, whether that, let's say it's Monday or your first day of your week, you're going to want to do, that could be the day that you pick to do your weekly reports. These are the reports that's going to give you an idea of what you're doing as far as measuring different things that, based on your organizational needs, that are specific to your unit, what is being done. It could be the staffing, it could be if you have a product, how well you are selling your sales, how did you move how many products. If it's customer service, you may be looking at your customer service ratings, or or if the customer satisfaction is great, or what that score is. Some have scores that you would look at to make sure that your scores is at the level that your organization has put together as what they have decided that is their goal. And then it depends on if it's something that has to do with safety. You may be looking at to make sure that you're meeting all of the safety protocols and goals there. Some of the reports may have to do with different complaints and how many level of complaints that you have. Some of them may have to do with, it can be anything depending on the type of organization that you're in. There's going to be probably a report for just about everything and anything, especially if you're in a organization that's quite large. Now, if you're in one of a smaller company, they may not have a lot of reports, but you can create your own reports. There are a lot of computer software out there where you can create reports for yourself. And if you have a big enough company that they have an IT staff, they can help you set up a lot of those reports. And then on day 2, you're going to probably have at some point during the week, if you are a manager, you're going to meet with management at some point, and you're going to want to meet with your staff. So you may have it set up for you, or your manager, whoever maybe said it, may be another day of the week. But let's say it's on Tuesday, you're going to want to have that on your calendar. In addition to, remember we said the 8 things that you're going to do every day. You need to set it around on day 2 around those meetings and with your staff and with management. Usually once you meet with your managers, you all, and those are the people that are on your level and up, usually you're going to want to have a meeting with your staff, because out of the management meeting is going to be things that you're going to now have to relay to the people on your team, and or the people that's on in your unit or that's in your department, that is going to come out of the management meeting. And so on day 2, those are the 2 sets of meetings that you may have to do on that particular day. Now, day 3 can be set aside after you've done your 8 things that you're going to do every day, or sometimes some of these may take place before you do the 8 things. You're going to set aside for trainings, because most time you have staff that has to be trained. A lot of times you may have new hires that are needing to be trained. You may have other people that you have to provide in services for, because maybe they're, each one of your staff members are going to be at different levels. So some may need additional training. They may be at a different stage. They're not new, but they still have additional training that they have not completed, that is needed to be completed in order for them to be considered completely trained. And then you have evaluations that you need to do, so that has to be put on the calendar, because as a manager, many times you're the one that's responsible for evaluations. And so those have to be scheduled, and also too, before you can give someone a yearly evaluation or a quarterly evaluation, you would need to be meeting with them intermittently to tell them about their progress. So those particular meetings as well need to be on your calendar, a block of time where you will be able to plug in different staff that you need to meet with. And then there are the interviews, because sometimes you have staff turnover and you're going to need to do interviews to fill different positions. So you're going to need to have a block of time for that as well. So you may want to carve out 1 or 2 hours on that day 2 for any one of these 4 things. days 1 through 3. On day 4, we're going to add to our everyday task for this particular day. We're going to check your inventory. You're going to speak to any outside vendors, visitors, contractors, or people that you need to reach out to, and also that needs to reach out to you. And so that block of time, you can say, sometimes they'll ask you when is a good time to call you. You'll have already set on your schedule. You'll have a block of time on, say, day 4 of each week that you will set aside and say, well, you can call me at this particular time, and then you can always put them in the schedule for that block that you have set for just for that particular task. And then on day 5, the task would be to, in addition to the 8 things that we spoke about, you would review any additional reports, because sometimes there are reports that doesn't necessarily need to be reviewed every week, but they are reports that are maybe they don't have a set schedule. Those are the ones that you may want to look at on Fridays. Also, you're going to want to answer any additional emails that cannot wait over, if you're off on weekends, that cannot wait. You want to make sure that you address every issue that you need to address before you leave your workplace or your workspace if you work from home. You want to check it back again, circle back around, even if you in the mornings you did do all of your 8 tasks, you still want to go and do that final check, whether that's by a phone call to say make sure, or email to make sure everything is good. You also want to do that last walkthrough, and that may not be a physical, that may, like I say, be a phone call. And also you want to wrap up any issues, any projects that you had going on during the week that you needed to do some follow-up on. You want to do that additional follow-up on day 5 to any one of the things that you had going on throughout the whole week. And then that's a good day to reward staff, because people feel great usually on Fridays because they are going to have some time off in most cases, not always. Not every job is Monday through Friday. A lot of people work weekends, evening, nights, whatever. And so you still want to have a block of time that you going to use to reward staff. And sometimes it's also a time that you may have other people that work with you that may not necessarily be a part of your unit. You want to definitely identify things that you all want to sometimes celebrate, and you want to celebrate it as a team or as an organization or company. That's a great time, and make sure that you put in some time for that into your schedule as well. Sometimes these things are scheduled for you because sometimes other people have input and they want to do it on other days or at other times, but just know that this is going to be a part of your schedule, and you need to write it in, or put it on your Outlook calendar, which is one of the best ways to do it. Now, some people are still on paper, so if paper works for you, then that's what you do to create your work week. So now that we have all of our work week, and like I said, it doesn't have to be on those set days. It's just to give you an idea of how you can set up your week and make sure that you're touching everything that you need to do as a mid-level manager. Now, there may be tasks that were not put on this particular lesson that you know that is a part of your duties or tasks that you need to do, then those are things you would incorporate on your particular schedule and make sure that you give it a day and a time that you're going to dedicate to that particular item. And of course, all of these, remember, this is called, we're talking about creating a system, and this is how you create a weekly system so that every month you know that you've addressed everything that we discussed is being addressed on a daily basis, and in some cases on a weekly basis, and then each month it will turn into quarterly, and quarterly will turn into a year. Now, this is what it's going to look like. You can see how that you can create on a Outlook calendar, and there are other programs that have calendars. You can put in your daily tasks. You can even color code it so that you can see what you have to do each day. And then on your calendar, you can see your meetings, and you can also take note of the days that you have for your training and your evaluations. And you also have the time that you have allotted to looking at your reports to make sure that you have your wrap up. You have everything that you need to do on a weekly basis on your calendar. Sometimes, yes, it's going to change from day to day, but if you consistently make sure that if you change something, that you put it back on your calendar sometime that week, then you won't miss anything that you need to be doing as a mid-level manager, and you can readily see where you can put that on your schedule in another empty area on your schedule. That's why every space for every day is not filled out, so that you have the flexibility of moving around things on your calendar. You have established a system for any one of your tasks, principles, protocols, or problems. You can take the same method and apply it to anything that you want to manage. Stay tuned, because next we're going to talk about, in the next segment, we're going to talk about how to use your system on a weekly basis as a mid-level manager. Stay tuned. Now, with all of these lessons, you have learned how to create your system, or a systematic way of doing things, and you learned how to schedule your system and put it on your calendar, and also how to measure your monthly goals and to collect the information that you need in order to see where you are and to constantly be able to monitor what you're doing. You are now ready to be a great mid-level manager. And now you have a way of showing your directors and your senior managers your progress and your successes. Now go be great. To learn more about the mid-level management and the leadership series, please check out the YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook at MOMAFEY_HT. Yes, that's MOMAFEY_HT. Well, this is Mama Faye saying, don't do anything today that you are going to regret tomorrow.